The Lord doesn't have favorites, and He's no respecter of persons, and He loves Africa and He loves Africans. Culture's an issue everywhere in the world, but seldom would it be any more poignant than in Africa. In the miracle of people joining the church, people seem to readily understand that this is a new life.
I was born to Muslim parents and raised as a young Muslim. Then I saw two young men. I had seen them a couple of times walk through the city, Somenya, where I was living. So I walked to them and say, "Hey, young men, what are you selling?" And they say, "Oh, we are not selling anything, but we are missionaries of God. Can we visit with you?" Then I said, "Okay, can you come to my home at 6 p.m.? At exactly 6, we had a knock at our door. And I said, "Wow, I remember we had appointment. Okay, come on, come in." And then they came in and they started with a Joseph Smith story of a man who lived at a time when there was confusion over what is truth, and then they went ahead and said, and he prayed, and he had a vision, and he saw God and His Son. And I said, wow, of all the fancy stories I've heard in my life, this is the most ridiculous one of all. Are you telling me a man saw God, whom I have been trained all my life to believe is a spirit which we cannot see? Don't be kidding me. They said, this is true. I laughed. But they were so kind and nice, and so I listened. Then when it was done, they decided to give me a book of Mormon, copy of a book of Mormon, if I will receive it. I said, sure, I'll take it. For the good of these young men, just to make them feel, their effort is not wasted. I'll read this thing the next time they come. And so I went back, read the Moroni session they gave me. Then after reading just that, then I said to myself, you cannot understand anything if you jump into the middle. Why don't I go to the beginning and see what all this is about? And so they came back and said, okay, we meet again. Did you read what we asked you to? I said, I did that. And I also read 1st and 2nd Nephi. And in those days, I didn't know we would pronounce it Nephi. And I said, my great-grandfathers, some I know, some I do not know, died many, many years before even the first Christian ship docked in Africa. What happens to them? Then they took out a video and then started seeing these beautiful buildings shown one after the other. And then they said, this is the temple of the Lord. And we are going to teach you a lesson about the temple that will answer your question. And I said, for the first time in my life, I have got an answer to this lifelong question. And then they asked me to pray about it. So I went on my knees and prayed. Then they came and I said I had prayed, but I've not had any feeling. They said I should ponder and keep praying. Then when I was walking down the street alone, I started pondering and thinking about all that I've been learning with them, to ask myself whether it is true. And in an instant, I had the feeling that made me felt like I'd gotten a swelling in my heart. And so my reaction was, I jumped. And then I ran about 100 meters and started throwing my hands. I think I got it. I think this is right. I think this is right. So I came back home and I told my wife, you know what? I've been thinking about this. But today, when I told myself in my heart that this is true, I got a feeling and an impression I have never felt before. And it was so strong that I could not stand down to run and jump on the streets alone. I am going to get baptized. I think this is true, and I want to join it.
Africa is one of those special places where you get to see the glory of the Lord, the wonder and the miracle of the restoration just quite literally unfold before your eyes. It's the wonder of individual personal conversion.